Starting off week 1 was the host of the Great American Bash, the GOATs, Hank and Tank.
And I just brought in some ends, little bitches the first of the month. Run, I'm in the game, little bitch, I'm a the city, I'm afraid of the sun.
And all they do is turn on the power to start the show. The first match was Metaphor's Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson challenging the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn for the Women's Tag Team Championships. The match ends after Isla takes out Lash, and then she and Alba hit their tag finisher to retain their titles. The next match was Tavion Heights versus Tony D'Angelo for the Heritage Cup. At the end of the second round, Tony hits a superplex, but the time runs out before he can pin Tavion. Tony scores his first point after hitting a fisherman suplex. Immediately after, Ren Sinclair starts shouting at Tavion to motivate him, and it works pretty well because as soon as the next round starts, he starts dominating until he hits a belly-to-belly suplex to score a point. The match ends after Tony hits a spinebuster to retain the Heritage Cup. The next match was Brooks Jensen versus Cedric Alexander. The match ends after Cedric hits the lumbar check to get the win. Bro didn't even get an entrance, but at least he won.
She want me to stay, but I gotta leave her. Something about her I gotta see first. She tell me the truth and I believe her.
We then see the Rascals, who say that Wes and Zach deserve a tag title shot because they never lost the tag titles when they were teaming together as MSK. All this does is set up the tag match for next week. So, next! The next match was Kendall Gray versus Jada Parker. The match ends after Jada hits the running hypnotic to get the win. The main event for week 1 was Thea Hale versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. The match ends after Roxanne hits the Pop Rocks to get the win and retain her title. To start off week 2 was Pete Dunne versus Trick Williams. Trick! That is a literal grown man. This is nasty work. The match ends after Trick misses the trick shot and Pete hits the bitter end to get the win. The next match was Tatum Paxley versus Kaylani Jordan for the NXT Women's North American Championship. The match ends after Kaylani hits a top rope Spanish fly and a frog splash to retain her title. After the match, it looks like Wendy has aligned with Tatum, but she attacks her and puts her to sleep, and it appears that she will be Kaylani's next challenger. Honestly, what else would you expect from Wendy? Backstage, we see Ren Sinclair, Charlie Dempsey, and Miles Bourne. Ren is still trying to convince Charlie to let her into the No Quarter Catch crew. The family walks in, and Tony says if Ren wins her match, he will give Charlie a match for the Heritage Cup next week. With this stipulation, Charlie agrees to finally let Ren in the group if she wins. After that, we see Pete Dunne chatting about Trick. And then Trick runs up on him, and they start throwing hands, showing that this feud between them is far from over. The next match was the NXT title match between Oro Mensah and Ethan Page. An Eagle's Edge through a picnic table? Nasty work. The match ends after Ethan hits an Eagle's Edge to retain his title. The next match was Joe Coffey versus Joe Hendry. The match ends after Joe Hendry hits a chokeslam to get the win. After that, we see Chase U. Rich Holland announces that he and Andre will be challenging for the NXT Tag Team titles next week, which Duke Hudson clearly feels some type of way about. After that, we got the match between Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray. The match ends after Ren completely drives Kendall's head into the mat, meaning that she is now a member of the No Quarter Catch crew, and Charlie has a Heritage Cup title match against Tony D'Angelo next week.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 what?
The main event was MSK versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom for the NXT Tag Team Championships. The match ends after Axiom hits a golden ratio to retain the titles. But after the match, Wes absolutely destroys both Trey and Zach. Excuse me? Nah, bring me to Tuesday right now, because I need answers. Answers!